Welcome to Embellish the Story. I'm so glad you decided to stop in my craft room and craft with me today. And we're going to make one of my favorite things to make. And it's probably what I think is the prettiest thing. I love to take these little bits and make something really pretty out of them. And so I'm going to call this a page topper, or just a topper. And I use my pretty bits for this. So I don't use my scraps, unfortunately. I love to use scraps, but I use my pretty bits. So I have a container here of pretty bits, and I'm going to make it on a base, which is, this is just a piece of a digital from Oohlala Vintage Treasures Ballet Dreams kit. I'm going to take about a 6-inch piece of lace, and then I'm going to use some chiffon silk. Now, this is 100% adaptable to whatever supplies you have on hand. I do like some kind of material that's got some body to it. And I'm going to crinkle it up a little bit because I want it to kind of fold and cascade around things. So you'll see why I say that. But so that's the one thing. I get material that has body to it, and then I get my pretty bits. So most of my pretty bits come from things I thrift. Like this is from a wedding gown that I found. This is a wedding gown piece, as is this one. So these are my pretty bits, and I have one of those biscuit tins, those clear biscuit tins, and I call it my bits jar. And I just keep bits of things in it. Here's a pretty piece I want to use. So pretty pieces, they don't have to be sparkly. If you don't care for sparkly, I understand. But you know I love sparkly. So I've picked out some of my prettier trims, and I'm just going to use pieces of these more than likely. So I really don't know what I'm going to use right now. I just picked out a bunch of little bits of things I have saved as I have crafted. And that's from a wedding gown. Most of these are from wedding gowns I thrifted. So, and I am starting to put bits of some of these wedding gowns in my Etsy shop. So if you've been looking for wedding gown bits, I'm trying to get around to sharing some of mine with you guys, because I've got to where I have too many wedding gown pieces. So I need to share my treasure chest with people. So I am using this beautiful, I did get this beautiful applique, and then this one, and it's got a lot of sequin and pearl work. And I might use tiny bits of that, and I might not, because I hate cutting that. I love pieces that have texture like this one. That's a piece from Oohlala Vintage Treasures. Here's a piece of fabric that just has some beadwork and some sequin. So these are the type bits that I'm using. You can use any bits you want. This is just a process. It's just a process and how I do and get the look that I like. And this has been requested by people who I've gifted these toppers to. So I'm going to grab my scissors. I've got my glue. If you've got a hot glue gun, I think that would be probably the ideal glue for this. I do not have a hot glue gun, so I'm going to use my regular glue. But grab your bits, grab your glue, grab your scissors, and let's make this pretty topper together. I've been laying my bits out up here so I can look at them and see what I want, so I can just see them. So I took them out of my little, is that a compote dish? I think that's what that is. And I'm just laying these out so I can see them. I forgot to tell you, this is my little bling holder. So I may use some rhinestones. This is a pearl and rhinestone trim. It's so pretty. It's from Oohlala Vintage Treasures. Crystals and Pearls Kit Club. This is just a rhinestone piece. And I got it at Joann's the other day. And then I have just some tiny sparkly bits that I may use. So I don't even know for sure, but usually I add rhinestones at the very end. So I got a little bit of sparkly rhinestone trim, and I'm going to set that aside. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, this is going to go over something, like it's going to go over a page in a journal. It's going to go over a bag, something like that. The ones I've made before have actually been the top of the bag. So this is a pastry bag from Publix. Y'all know what I like to buy in these? Boston cream filled donut, chocolate donuts online. Yes, it's my favorite thing to collect a craft with. But anyway, I digress. So I just folded the bag over, and the bag became, this became where I did my work instead of the topper. But I can make a topper like this and just top anything with it. So this is about a 6-inch piece, maybe a little less. I dropped my glassine bag. Okay, so I can also just put it across a glassine bag like this, or the top of a journal page. So I'll look at that. We'll look at how pretty it looks when we're finished. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let this be the back because it's pretty. So if I put it over a page, the prettier side is showing. This side is not that it's not pretty. It's pretty, but it's not as decorative as this side. So this is the side I'm going to work with. And I'm going to leave it folded like that. And I'm going to take a piece of lace, and it will pretty much cover it to give me just a base. So I'm just going to put this piece of lace down here. All right. I did pick a light color. Of course, my glue's not coming out. I did pick a light color digital because I didn't really want a lot of color to shine through. And I'll have enough glue on this at the end of the day. I don't have to put a lot of glue on this just for this lace. So this just kind of gives me a base to work with. Right. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take the chiffon silk, and I'm going to kind of create a little bit of just a flowing thing, and I'm going to kind of divide this into 2 halves. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. So I'm going to just take this and put it down. This is why I think a hot glue gun would come in really handy, because it's going to glue really fast, where I'm going to have to work with this and let it dry. So what I'm going to do is just kind of, it's just kind of place this how I want it, and I'm going to do it so it's just kind of flowing around the top of this. I'm just fumble fingers today. So it's just kind of flowing around the top of this. And it's going to kind of just divide everything in half. And I'm not pressing it down at all, because I want the body in the top of this. So see, I just kind of let it fall where it wanted to. See how it just kind of goes around like that? And I just barely glued it down, because I'll show you why in the end. So I didn't press it at all. It's very, very loose and flowing. Okay. So that's kind of the base, and then we just start filling in with pretty bits. So I like to have a focal point at the top over here and balance it with something here. So that's how I'm going to kind of start at the beginning. This is a pretty beaded piece, and it would be awfully pretty here. And then I need something to balance it here. So I could put that. I think the rule of thumb is the heavier thing needs to go on the bottom. So let's try and do this and see if that's a little more appealing to the eye. Okay, maybe that is. So that's kind of how I start. I have a bigger one of these that I would have to cut that down. This one is really pretty, but those sequins are so yellow. That is a very vintage piece of a wedding dress. So I'm just going to try this one. All right. So that corner of the, that corner bothers me. So I'm going to find a little piece I can stick there. This would probably be ideal. So I'm going to take this. This is just a bit I have. I'm going to cut it, and I'm just going to put it here. All right. I may do the same here. So, I don't know if I like that. I am going to put this down. All right. Now, what I like to do is fill in these spaces, and I just start laying down trims, y'all, and see what catches my eye. The reason I didn't want to put it all the way down is because I like to pick this up and then place this under it, like so. So I kind of pick that up and tuck that under. And that's going to give me this intertwining look. As it comes together, I think you'll see what I mean. I love this, and I don't really need the whole circle. I think half of it would do better for me. So I'm going to actually cut it like that because I wanted to keep that piece. And I think I'm going to see how it looks just in areas like this. Let's see. And this is a lot of playing with stuff. Oh, I like that there, like that. Okay. So this becomes a lot of just playing around and placing until we get the look we want. Right. Here is, I like the curved pieces because it gives me some, because I want it to be curved. I don't want it to be straight. And I'm just trimming. This is a piece of a wedding gown. It had been walked on. I washed it. You could tell they had really walked on this wedding gown. So this was the very bottom of it. So I always end up taking that off because I just never could get it clean. It didn't seem like. Okay. I don't like that. I'm not crazy about that. All right. All right. Here's this pretty piece. This is the edge of a wedding, the sleeve of a wedding dress. So I could pick that up and put that there. Kind of let that do that. And see how I'm kind of picking it up and letting it peek out from under that chiffon silk? That's why I didn't want to really put it down too much right now. I don't like that piece there. Do y'all go thrifting and looking for wedding dresses like I do, and like party gowns? I do. And you know, I'll go in a spell and I won't find anything for months, and then I'll find things one time after another. And here lately I have been lucky and found a good many things. But I was on a dry run there for a while. I just wasn't finding anything for months. But I have found some pretty pieces lately. Okay, so do you see how I kind of am just going with the way that the chiffon silk is flowing, and just kind of filling in where there's a gap with something. And what I do is I lay it all down and then I'll glue it. Okay. I love this, the way this looks. So that looks pretty there. Okay, so can you see how it's kind of coming together? And I've just been laying bits and pieces here and there. And that's really all I've done. It's just like collaged lace pieces. There's a little bit there that needs something. So I just need a tiny something. And I don't like that with that. Let's see. I'll just use this. How about I had a little tiny piece of an applique? Oh, here it is. It's kind of pink looking, isn't it? Yeah, that goes kind of pink. Let's see. I could cut a piece of this. Kind of hurts my feelings, but I'll do it with y'all because since we're playing together, well, this is what happens to my appliques, y'all. I cut them up into tiny bits. When I bought them at first, I always thought I would use them whole, and I don't think I ever have. Okay, so that's, let's see. We might could just cover that whole space with that. Oh, that's pretty there. Then we could use this one maybe here. Okay. So I kind of like the way that's looking. And I didn't mention, but if I wanted to do pinks and whites, you know, I would make sure everything I picked kind of matched and coordinated. So this one I went with the neutrals. So that's how I did that. This is a piece, it has to be a piece of Oohlala, a tiny bit. And I found it and I was like, oh, that looks like an Oohlala bit. Isn't that pretty? So it's got to have a home for sure. You know, that needs a bit there. I think it needs to go like this. Oh yeah, that'll work. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, this is how I've decided I want it. So I'm gonna just start picking up and placing down. So I'm gonna push these up and I'm just going to pick it up and put it down with glue. So I just pick it up and I'm gonna put it down. And I can always go back and glue later, but I will mess it up. If I take it apart, I will never get it back together the way I liked it. So I learned, do not take it apart. Once I get it settled, I leave it. Okay, what bit have I not done? The other thing I did before this started is most of these were already glued on the back from all the beading. Most of these had been glued before they ever made it into my bit jar. So now I just moved something. I don't know what it was. All right. Okay, let's see. I'll put this here. I took this on top, but I'm putting this one, whoops, I'm going to kind of put this one underneath the chiffon silk here. And then I know I want that chiffon silk to go over the top of that, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down there. Because that's the way I want it. I want it to look like the chiffon silk, and these pieces are just kind of intertwining among each other. Okay. Just wheel on that. I'm going to put this down here. That's actually an offcut of an offcut. You can hear my stomach. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's growling up. I'm a little bit hungry. Okay. Alrighty. I wanted to get this done. I've been picking out sparkly bits all for a while, trying to decide what exactly I wanted to use. So I like that going there like that. So this is really just like putting together a little puzzle. And y'all, if you bought any of my tags from Etsy, sometime in some of the sets I've had tags where I've collaged the top of the tag like this. And it makes a really, really pretty tag topper. So I'm going to put this down. Okay. All right. So that's what I've got so far. And now I want to just kind of take this chiffon silk and put it down in places where I want it covered. So this is why I didn't stick the chiffon silk down at the beginning, because I knew I would end up doing this at the end. So do you see why I think if you're a glue gun person, you're probably going to be like, she needs a glue gun. Because I think a glue gun would work really, really well for this particular project. All right. This spot kind of bothers me. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I was going to put this here. Yeah, that's what it needs. And, you know, I think it just needs that bit. I don't think it needs this bit. So I'm going to take this tiny bit and cut it into another tiny bit. Okay. And that's the reason I go back and put some rhinestones at the end, because it kind of just gives it a finishing touch. So what I'm going to do is, you know what, I wanted that to show better. So I'm going to move that out some. Okay. All right. So that's kind of the way I've got it. And I think I'm going to just work with my chiffon silk and try to get it to, and just let it dry for a minute before I go on, because it's wanting to pop up and not behave. So I'm going to let this dry and I'll be back. So I'm trying to get this glue, some of this glue off my hands. Boy, I've got glue everywhere. So while it was drying, I was just kind of looking at my sparkly rhinestone bits, trying to decide where we needed something. And to me, it's amazing how this kind of finishes it off, in my opinion. But, you know, I like rhinestone on everything, So I've got this little rhinestone trim, but what I'm really, because there's so much pearl on this, I thought I might want to use some of this pearl and rhinestone trim. And I like to find like a line in this and follow the line. So here is a definite line, and so I thought I would just put some there, like that. Okay. I might have to trim it again. Yeah. So I thought I would put some here. I thought I would do the same on this side with that rhinestone trim. And I could just use my plain rhinestone, but since I had this, I was just really wanting to use it, because I've never had this before. I've always just used plain rhinestone trim. So there we have that, and we have this that'll go. I'm going to have to trim that a little more. I lost a stone like that anyway. So this could go here, like so. That spot right there is really not making me happy. So I wonder if that would be pretty there, just a big single rhinestone like that. I have this double rhinestone piece. It might be pretty there. That's a vintage rhinestone piece. All right. I don't know, I think I like the single rhinestone there, so I'm going to put a single one there, because it's just got to have something for sure. And then I don't want to put one right in the middle, but it kind of needs something right there. Let's see. So I've got it going down this way, and then it's going back up that way. So it kind of needs to do something in the center here. Almost like it could come out of this and go across there. Let's see how that looks. Because it's so it kind of looks like the rhinestone's doing something like this and kind of going up. So what I'm going to do is just play around with this because it's very tedious for me to put this rhinestone on, and all you're going to see is my hand in the way. So I'm going to place these rhinestones and then come back and show you what I've got. So what I did was first of all, I used art glitter glue to put down the metal trim, and it's always held good for me. Some people use E6000 or E600, 6000, but I've always just used art glitter glue, and I have never had problems with it. So I put some here, and it's still not quite dry yet. I put some here, and then what I did on this one was I put it down here, and then I just draped it over the top of that, and then I put it down on the other side. Almost looks like they're twining around each other, and I thought that was really pretty to do it like that. So it kind of goes and flows like so. So this is the rhinestones kind of flowing this way, and the ribbons kind of flowing that way, and then all of the bits of trim are in between. So I think this is a really pretty sparkly topper, and it's just a collage of little pretty bits. And so this is my Ballet Dreams journal I'm working on, and these digitals are at Oohlala Vintage Treasures on Etsy, so I can leave you the link to find Doreen's digitals. They're all so pretty, but look at this on top of the page. Isn't it pretty? And you can use this same, like I said, I've used this to make the top of lots of tags and things like this, like tags, bags, but this page topper is really pretty. You could even go this way too. That's got something on it. I am in the process of working on this journal. Oh, it could go that way too. Isn't that beautiful? Like a snippet. So y'all, these are really, really pretty. They're fun. They're sparkly. Everybody who sees them always loves them and always comments. So there you go. So grab your sparkly bits. If you've been crafting with me, I hope you've had fun. If you've just been watching and you like it, grab your sparkly bits and just start placing them together. Thank y'all for joining me, and just for your support, and just always encouraging me. It means so much. Y'all are such a blessing. Y'all have a good day or a good night, whatever it is where you are, and always remember to embellish the story. See you soon. Bye-bye.